60-minute drive for a 60-minute game. After all the miles we've traveled, we're almost there. After all the hours we've worked, one more can make us legends. After all
Good evening, everybody. This is Greg Rector with TeamMBSmedia.com, and this is The Last Word, where we discuss all the action that's taking place in the world of college football today. And my guest this evening is Randall Silver. Randall.
Hey, how are you today?
I'm doing real good. Yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing well. Good Saturday.
Yeah, some pretty decent games out there today. But let's talk about the playoff implication game from last night first, however, and we'll talk about the Boise State Broncos defeating the UNLV Running Rebels.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good late game. I always love the West Coast time, so you got something to watch late at night. I'll let you start though.
Well, I did tell Brock, who is our co-host here on the college football forecast last night, that the Broncos would beat his Running Rebels because he attended the UNLV and he was at the game covering it for Team MBS Media as well. Of course, he had a slightly different outcome in mind, but the quarterback for Boise State, Max, he just played so well last night, and that was the key to this game. Of course, I'm a huge Ashton Jeanty fan. I believe you are as well.
Yeah, who isn't?
And he only had 126 yards of rushing last night, but he's still my favorite pick for the Heisman.
Agreed. I mean, yeah, the 4 yards per carry is different than like 9, right? That he's averaging for the season, and it barely dropped because he still hit 128. I really liked Madsen's situational running, his rushing ability. When there was a time and he saw it, his 3 rushes for 58 yards, those were some pretty crucial ones. I think 2 were third down conversions. So the way he used his legs while still going 18 for 33 was pretty clutch for him.
Absolutely right. And again, Boise State is now subtly the number 1 team to come out of the other schools here for the playoffs.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And UNLV, of course, will be in a bowl game, so that's good enough for them as far as I'm concerned this year. What did you make of the Syracuse-Pittsburgh game Thursday night?
I'm originally from Western New York, Rochester, New York, so about an hour from Syracuse. So I'm trying to root for Syracuse, and I do love their new head coach. The pick sixes were rough. It was a bad game, kind of was like watching Kyle McCord on what you thought about Kyle McCord when he transferred to Syracuse. Like we were like, oh yeah, you got Kyle McCord. That's very cool. He came from Ohio State, but the confidence wasn't as well, and he was playing so good this season that I think a lot of people were surprised by that. And then that game happened yesterday, and it was rough to watch. What did you think about that?
Well, I personally loved the fact that McCord struggled since he got lucky against my Fighting Irish there.
Yeah,
a couple of times. That was terrible.
Yeah.
But the Pittsburgh Panthers are a serious ACC contender.
I agree.
That is a serious contending team because that defense can beat people up. And the offense is no longer Kyle Pickett to Jordan Addison. It's got everybody involved.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It took them a while. I mean, they had last year their quarterback play was rough.
Yeah.
And then they had Bub Means come out, which I love that wide receiver. He's doing well in New Orleans, so he didn't have much to work with. But they finally kind of are starting to get it together, and I do love their defense.
Oh, that defense is going to do me so much good when they go up against the Clemson Tigers and they beat Clemson.
Yeah.
I really see Pittsburgh as going as the ACC team that will play the Miami Hurricanes for the ACC title.
Yeah, I could very much see that too. That'd be a lot of fun. That would be a lot of fun to watch, especially with Cam Ward going up against that defense.
Yeah, I mean that would be a real good test for Ward and Restrepo and those fellas from the Hurricanes.
Sure.
So in today's earlier games, though, Let's start off with the Arkansas Razorbacks destruction of the Mississippi State Bulldogs of 56-25. I believe there's 3 words that you and I are going to say together.
Yeah, at the same time, at the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Woo,
Woo, pigs!
pig, sweet.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Absolutely right. Boy, the Razorbacks, they just put a show on today,
they did.
and it was a beautiful sight.
They played with a little bit of arrogance, to be honest with you, which was good to see because Talon Green, I love Talon, how he came in as a transfer. I loved his style. I loved his stature. He was great. You know, switching from KJ Jefferson over to Talon Green was not a 1-to-1, but at least the same similar style. And he just needed Talon Green needs reps and he needs confidence, and he
Yeah.
showed that today. Like the 4th-and-1 conversion, he held that ball behind his back for like a real 2 seconds, and then he threw it.
And
Then
then
he
he
threw it for the
threw it.
touchdown. Yeah, that was a cocky move, and he doesn't do that. So
No.
it was good. It was good to see him do that.
Yeah, exactly. Let's touch on the games that are currently going underway right now. We've got Penn State now up 28-13 over Wisconsin. LSU is trailing Texas A&M 21-17. Kansas State is leading Kansas in the Sunflower Bowl 23-20. SMU is pretty much taking care of Duke today.
Yep.
Arkansas State is just about losing to Troy now 31-26 with just 39 seconds left. That school up north, everybody knows that I do not call them by their name, is beating Michigan State, a school I will respond to, but it's 24-17. Auburn is putting the boots to UK 24-10. And just underway, of course, Cincy is playing Colorado. And then earlier today, we had Oregon maintaining their number 1 ranking. They just put the boots to Illinois. I mean, that was just a pretty simple game for the Oregon Ducks, wouldn't you say?
I would definitely say it's simple, but it was a little terrifying how simple it was. They played their football, and Illinois really couldn't do anything about it. I mean, their offense is showing out. Even having now the 2-headed monster, Noah Whittington. Noah Whittington played great today.
Yeah.
He was fun to watch. He was bulldozing people, and he's behind Jordan James. So Oregon's good. Oregon's scary. Like keep number 1 seed scary, I think.
And they've got the 2 tackles who are playing very well as well. Connolly and Fisher are both playing great football for them.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's Dylan Gabriel doesn't have too many concerns in that pocket.
No, yeah, exactly.
The team that Oregon defeated a couple of weeks ago, though, had a pretty big scare today. The Ohio State Buckeyes, 21-17 over Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I was rooting for Nebraska, but it was a fun watch, and it would have been wild to see that upset, especially with Rayella being the true freshman. But they were trying to give that game away, especially in the 3rd quarter, to be honest.
Yep.
But I would probably say that 4th down stop is what turned it. Once they got that good 4th down stop, then they started at least turning that 3rd quarter around.
Did Ryan Day deserve the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty that he should have gotten called against today?
Yeah.
That was BS.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You throw your microphone down that way. You're on the field of play.
Right.
I don't care that there was a review going on or not, because of course his player got nailed for the targeting penalty.
Right. Which was suspect.
Which was okay. You could call it suspect, but again, he hit him in the head. He got him in the head.
Yeah.
And that is danger, especially when it comes to hitting the quarterback, right? That's it.
For sure.
Number 5, Texas survived. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Against Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Vanderbilt's way too much fun.
I mean, Vanderbilt was very close in this game, except for the 2nd quarter where they had a little collapse. And if they didn't have that collapse in that second quarter, Texas Longhorns would have been down to defeat for a second straight game.
I 100% agree. My favorite thing was, I mean, what was unfortunate is their first quarter was so good. They were setting the tone with a lot of it. They had the tip pick with and then the tip interception, and then Pavia's rushing touchdown. That was
Yep.
super impressive. The diving, and then right after that, they went for it on fourth down, converted, but then there was a penalty, so then they had a punt, and then that's kind of where it started. Then Matthew Golden had that touchdown,
That touchdown.
and then quarter two happened.
Yeah.
And then quarter two happened.
I don't really want to talk about the Miami Hurricanes destroying FSU as everybody else does this year.
Yeah.
BYU went out to Orlando and handled UCF today, 37-24. What do you think of Gus Malzahn?
It's hard for me to like Gus Malzahn being in Arkansas. But,
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing things. What are your thoughts at that point?
I really think he needs a different offensive coordinator, or he needs to just leave UCF.
Yeah. I mean, UCF does not look good. They already had to switch their quarterbacks, which I know KJ Jefferson isn't the greatest quarterback, but he's viable and he does have talent and he's a dual threat. So not being able to even push anything out of him and then switch it up and not even continue doesn't look good. I agree. I think might as well just send him packing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is where my co-host Jeff Barnes was at today. He's on his way back home from that BYU beating UCF today. Oklahoma played a pretty good first half against Ole Miss today.
They did. It was surprising.
Yeah, but of course, with the lack of wide receivers and all that other fun sort of stuff, the Oklahoma offense just petered out, and that was it.
Yeah, and the Oklahoma offensive line did not do anybody any favors today. With Ole Miss defense had 10 sacks and 15 tackles for losses. I mean, I'm quite sure nobody will win a game at that point.
Yeah, the Ole Miss defense can stand up to anybody. They really can.
Sure. Walter Nolan is unreal.
Yep. Let's go down to the Ball State beat NIU today, 25-23. Now, I don't understand how NIU can walk into South Bend, Indiana, and escape with that victory, and yet they've been pounded by Ball State. I just don't get this. But anyhow, the other shocker to me was the TCU Texas Tech game, 35-34. TCU hung on to win. Boy, that was one tough game.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, good for TCU for sticking it out, but it came down to TCU scoring 14 in the fourth. I mean, good for them. Yeah, that's what it was all about. Starting off strong, ending strong. It's always scary not to have a good second and third, though.
Well, exactly right. And then Houston came back and beat Utah today. Utah was up.
What are your thoughts about Utah?
I just think that they had so much hope again with Cam Rising being their quarterback, and when Rising got hurt yet again, this team just fell off.
Yeah,
they just fell right off.
That's pretty much the recipe at that point. Yeah, you're right.
Yep. So, what other games do you want to talk about?
Let's see. What else we got on the docket? We have the Navy. Do you want to talk about the early game, the 11 o'clock?
Sure, we could discuss my Fighting Irish at Notre Dame. That's not a problem against because I'm a former Marine as well, right?
Yeah.
So I was under the Department of the Navy. So when it comes to the Army-Navy game, I do support the midshipmen.
For sure.
But today, whoa, did they have some bad things happen to them.
It it was almost like they were super nervous. Like I coming out. I mean, 2 botched handoffs in the first quarter. After that second one, kind of just tilt my head and still watched it, but it was definitely kind of a recipe. You knew after the first quarter what was happening.
Well, Bronco Horvath came out there with the thumb being hurt.
Yeah.
It was taped up and all that. And I just think it was a mistake for Navy to even have him out there.
I agree.
You know?
Definitely that's what it was.
Because
that was the
Notre
problem.
Dame didn't take that ball away from them except for the one interception. There was
Right.
five times that Navy just gave the ball back to Notre Dame.
Yep, absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
and then with Notre Dame's defense playing as well as it did, I mean, man,
Oh yeah.
they are on fire right now.
They are.
Marcus Freeman has now won 5 games in a row against ranked opponents after only going 5-5. So they've won 5 times against ranked opponents. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, 5-5's got to be stressful. He's doing I think he's doing one of his better years this year for sure. And obviously, I'm glad Riley Leonard transferred. He was promising in Duke, and I think he does well with Notre Dame. So I'm glad that they're doing well. It was
Riley Leonard, though, he came out and said this week that he had a long conversation with Sam Hartman.
Yeah, I saw that.
For quarterback.
Yeah.
Because he didn't feel he was actually ready to be playing at Notre Dame. And I'm like, what?
Really?
Yeah. And it's like, Riley, you were playing so well last year until you got injured against Notre Dame.
Absolutely.
I had Riley Leonard if he had gone out into the draft last year as a top pick for the quarterback position. Not that he has the greatest arm in the world, but it's that running ability that he has.
100%.
I mean, and again, he ran pretty well again today, but with Jadarius Love going for 105 or 6 yards, Price getting a touchdown as well. I mean, Notre Dame just pounded.
Absolutely.
And even though they missed the one field goal, both teams missed going to they missed onto the left.
Yeah.
That's not understanding that stadium.
Is that?
Oh yeah, MetLife Stadium. I mean that.
Oh yeah.
That place is a horrible place to play. Ask me after seeing DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons both go out against the Giants. No. Okay, yeah, here we go again. Another nightmare at MetLife.
Year after year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's go to the Lee Corso special.
Indiana.
Let's do Bloomington, Indiana. Curtis Rourke, of course, who was a Canadian, the younger brother of Nathan.
Yeah.
Did not play today, but Lee Corso was right on the money, along with Kyle Schwarber. Indiana just beat up on Washington 31-17.
They did, yeah. Taven Jackson had a good game. Just a sound game for what he had to do. Had a job and he kind of completed it, sort of thing. His prep was good. I think he was a big difference maker in that, just making sure that he wasn't trying to take over the game, but just manage the game in itself. Because Indiana's just kind of like Vanderbilt. Indiana's very sound. Their defense is great, and their offense can be efficient. So they just play great football.
Do you see the 3 teams in the Big Ten all in the playoffs that are unbeaten?
Well, is that so? We have Oregon got past their Ohio State, and then they have Ohio State, Penn State next week, and then November 23rd you have Indiana, Ohio State. So, do you see Indiana beating Ohio State November 23rd? That's one question I have for you.
If Curtis Rourke is healthy,
yeah,
I think that Indiana can stop anybody in this country right now. You look at the way that Cignetti's defense is playing. This is the first team since 1998 to be 8-0 and have never trailed for 1 second of a game.
Yeah.
I mean, people talk about the offense for Indiana. They better pay attention to that defense. That defense
Absolutely.
is just so solid.
They're solid, and then their turnovers are efficient. I mean, they had a pick six today.
Yep.
They consistently do that, and I agree that Ohio State game, Indiana game is going to be incredible. I can't wait for that game. I don't see Oregon losing, and I would probably say I don't think all three go undefeated. Probably one takes a loss,
Well,
right?
next week it's Penn State at home back at Happy Valley against the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Now, if Drew Aller is seriously hurt, ouch, that really is going to hurt the Nittany Lions. But I think the Nittany Lions defense has played so well this year that they could slow down Judkins and Henderson in the backfield, and their secondary can keep Egbuka and the young kid there, Smits, out of harm for them as well.
Definitely. And Ohio State's secondary is not playing great, so I do believe that Indiana can expose that. It's very easy. I mean, if you look at the Oregon tape, Oregon barely targeted Igbino's son, but then targeted Denzel Burke and took him in the secondary on a consistent basis. Indiana can probably do the same thing with Rourke.
Yeah, or even next week at Happy Valley against the Nittany Lions.
Oh yeah, same thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So again, that would be a beautiful year for me because that means that school up north and the Buckeyes are both out. I don't have to hear about them, and there's new powers in the Big Ten. Oh my goodness, what is going on?
I'm on board for that.
Yeah, see that place that they call the Big House. I'm old. I'm turning 60 here in December, my friend. And the Big House, that was the prison. That was why do you call your place the Big House? That was prison in those old Edward G. Robinson and James Cagney movies that old people like me remember watching. Yeah. But again, Ann Arbor, it still is it's hell on earth as far as I'm concerned, and that's
what do you think happens with Ryan Day? Let's say they're out of the playoff picture.
I think he's gone.
Me too.
I think he's gone.
I think it's going to be a pitchfork situation.
Yeah. 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 So it's now 28-23 for Texas A&M against LSU. There's 9:37 left in that game.
Yeah, LSU was kind of taking it away until Nussmeier had that bad interception on 3rd and long, and it kind of switched a little bit on that. I love Nussmeier. I think he is, if he's in the draft next year, I think he could be QB3.
He was Nussmeier was Dane Brugler's number 1 quarterback.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, he has a good arm. He uses it. He's willing to make any throw, and basically he could be molded by any offensive coordinator or head coach sort of thing. So going into the NFL, he'll be like, "What would you like me to do?" And he has the ability to do it.
Now, I don't see anybody in this quarterback class as a first round graded player. Do you have any of them in the first round graded?
So yeah, let's take away how the NFL operates and they draft everybody in the first year. I think Cam Ward is a first round grade on his ceiling. I believe that his ceiling is warranted a first round grade, and that's it.
Okay. Because I just recently posted a quick 1 round draft here, and I had Cam Ward going to the Raiders and Shedeur Sanders going to the Giants, but that was the only 2 quarterbacks that I took.
Yeah. I mean, I'll assume that more quarterbacks go because NFL gets impatient, but I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those were the only 2 quarterbacks that I had to go. And yes, I took Ashton Jeanty to the Dallas Cowboys because right where they're picking, it's just a prime spot to take the running back. And that was it. Right. But I also put Quentin Johnston, Judkins in there.
Oh, nice. Honestly, I think the Cowboys, it should be Jeanty's ceiling in getting drafted, to be honest with you. I think that's how good he is. I think that he will go to the Cowboys. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes under, But if the Cowboys have an opportunity to take Jeanty, like somebody's got to call
Well,
Jerry and just tell, like,
he's from Frisco, Texas. Come on
yeah,
now. I mean, you know.
yeah. You guys just had to elevate Dalvin Cook for tomorrow. You need a running
Oh
back.
yeah.
You need a running back.
Oh, do we ever?
Yeah.
And I mean that whole scenario. That whole scenario is bizarre, because the Cowboys' success before Tony Romo and Dak Prescott started flinging the football all around that field was always based upon a good, solid running game, efficient passing, like Troy Aikman used to do, efficient.
Yeah.
Not
Oh, yeah.
spectacular, but efficient. And Roger Staubach was the same way. He was an efficient passer.
Right.
That is the success of the Dallas Cowboys, and I want them to go back to that type of success. That's all I ask for.
I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, even when it came down to when you Cowboys drafted Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott was a great running back coming out of college, but the offensive line that the Cowboys had that was top 2 for like 8 years running, helped him become the star and get that second contract that he deserved. So that sound offensive line and that run game is always what I remembered, while that efficient passing. So I agree.
You know, and again, everywhere you look in the game of professional football this year, the running game matters because of the 2 high safeties that all the defenses are playing. And you see the quarterback numbers are way down this year. Patrick Mahomes only has 6 TDs and 8 interceptions, yet their Chiefs are still unbeaten. How does that happen? Oh, yeah. There's many more players involved than the damn quarterbacks and the quarterback alone.
It's evolving quickly for sure. I mean, I don't know the number, but I could guess it'd be under 15 games of 300 yards passing for almost the whole entire year, because it's not that much of a passing anymore. It's more rushing. I mean, basically what you're looking at is good rushing based on offensive line play, and that's dictating offense. Good offensive line play are the good teams right now, for sure.
Oh, absolutely, right? So Kansas State is now trailing Kansas 27-23. That's a bit of a shock.
Kansas State?
Yeah.
I got 27-26, yeah?
Right? No, now it's 27-26, yeah.
Yep. So they got field goal at the start.
Yeah. So
Duke's got the ball 21-3, 1 possession with 11 minutes left.
Yep. Fresno's beating up on San Jose State. That's not a surprise.
No.
Fresno is a program that always comes out with guys to the NFL, but nobody ever talks about Fresno.
I know. I very much agree. It's always anytime I see Fresno State when I'm doing scouting, I immediately do my work on them, because they pump them out. It's awesome. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
So do we want to discuss the absolute beatdown of the Missouri Tigers by Alabama today? That was just ugly.
Yeah, I mean, that ankle injury for Missouri obviously came through again, and he left in the second quarter.
Yeah.
And you could tell. I mean, honestly, Alabama did not play great in the first half. First half was kind of brutal when it was 13-0 and he went out. Alabama was 0 for 5 on third down conversions, and they really didn't do anything until they got that first interception. So it wasn't anything impressive except some of Alabama's defensive plays that was interesting to watch, but it didn't move up any notches for Alabama for me, to be honest.
No. They are going to they're going to a bowl game. They're not going to the playoffs, kids. I'm sorry, they're just not.
Yeah.
Because again, Texas A&M is still going to be, if they keep this lead happening, they're going to be unbeaten in the SEC. Texas has 1 loss. Georgia has the 1 loss. But Alabama, your days are numbered.
Yep. There goes Texas A&M for another touchdown too.
Yep.
There you go. That stretches that lead.
And again, that makes that early season win that Notre Dame did have at Kyle Field a much more important win than people wanted to give it credit for. I had Notre Dame winning that game no matter what.
Yeah.
I didn't care that it was Kyle Field. I didn't care it was going to be 100 degrees. I knew that the Fighting Irish would win that game, and they did. But since then, Mr. Elko has really got the Aggies playing a very solid ground game. Oh,
Yeah.
look at what? Oh, yeah, a ground game. Yeah, it's not all passing. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And their defense is very, very tough.
No, they are. Yeah, they trounced Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's take a quick little break here, and then we'll come back.
Sounds good.
In 2006, we founded Yeti Coolers with a simple mission: build the cooler we use every day if it existed. One that was built for the serious outdoor enthusiasts rather than for mass discount retailers. One that could take the abuse we knew we'd put it through, out in the field and on the water. One that simply wouldn't break. We decided early on that production innovation would come from necessity and first-hand experience, not from market research and data analysis. Today, Yeti products perform when it matters most. Whether that be an excursion into the remote Alaskan wilderness, chasing redfish on the Gulf Coast, or just getting together with friends in the backyard, we make gear that helps you stay out longer, travel farther, and live harder. Hashtag built for the wild.
All right, we're back here on the last word. So let's talk about Team MBS Media's coverage tomorrow on Moving the Chains with the boss man, Mr. Joe Cardozo, Ajmer Prasad, and my normal co-host here, Jeff Barnes, who will talk about the NFL games tomorrow morning. And I participate in the chat, and we have our picks of the games and all that fun sort of stuff, Randall. So it's a bit of fun.
Awesome.
Yeah. So let's discuss the games that are coming up here next week.
Definitely. There's a good amount of games. Obviously, I'm going to be at the Ole Miss Arkansas game, so that's exciting. I'm very excited about that. And
yeah, that'll be a very good game.
But I think probably the most exciting one that I believe could stay close is Kentucky versus Tennessee. I'm interested to see how that one plays out.
I don't see Kentucky being able to stick with the Volunteers this year.
No?
No. I mean, look at what Auburn's doing to Kentucky tonight. Look what's happened to Kentucky lately. They just don't have the same. They don't have the same quality running backs as they had with Ray Davis last year.
Yeah. No, I mean that's very true. I'm interested. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in it to see if they can pull it out. I mean, obviously Tennessee does have that upset with Arkansas, but there's a lot of good matchups in there too that I really want to watch with Deion Walker and that Tennessee offensive line.
Yeah.
I want to see what James Pierce Jr. can do there, Dylan Sampson and Spraggins and things along those lines. So it's a fun game for 2025 draft purposes. And I'm excited to watch it.
Do you think Pierce will be an outside linebacker in the NFL?
An outside linebacker?
Yeah, rather than just playing the edge.
I think he will. I think he's got the bend and everything to be able to do that. So I think he'll be outside linebacker with an edge hybrid sort of thing for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
that school up north hosts the number one team in the country, Oregon, next week. How bad of a beating will Oregon put on that school up north?
Oh, let's see. What was the final score of today's game? Is it going to get? Let's see how it gets close to that. 38-9 almost sounds astute.
I would think that'd probably be about right.
Yeah.
Of course, I would prefer Michigan to have 0 points in
Yeah.
any game, but Georgia plays Florida.
I mean, same.
And then
What
and
if-
then it's number 4 against number 3 because Ohio State
Yeah.
plays Penn State. And like I said earlier, if Drew Aller is able to play in that game, just the way that did you see that pass that he threw to Nick Singleton in the first half tonight?
Yes.
Oh, that was so beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
I mean-
Nick Singleton's good.
Yeah.
And his
and
route running's good too.
he's also a running back. I don't
Yeah.
understand this.
Yeah.
I just don't. Oh, all you kids who are dreaming about wide receivers and all that fun stuff in this year's draft, guess what? This year's draft has a lot more running backs that are going to be going, and they're going to be going early. They're not going to
Yep.
wait until round 4 or 5 and 6 like they did last year. These running backs are awfully good.
Yep, and that's what's going to make next year's draft so much fun is the heavy running back, the light quarterback class.
Yep.
So then it's really, and honestly, the offensive line's not great either. So honestly, nobody could even get close to predicting a mock draft for round 1 at all because
Well, we're
it's going
not
to be
gonna
all over
see-
the place.
We're not going to see the number of offensive tackles that we did last year. No.
Not even close.
Not
No.
even close. There's better play by the guards and centers this year than there are tackles in this draft. Yes, Kelvin Banks and Cameron Mitchell of Texas and Will Campbell, if his arms are long enough.
Yeah.
You
Campbell's okay. He's got some flaws.
Oh yeah.
He's got
But again, you're not going to see the same number of offensive tackles like we saw last year, which was in every single round.
right.
I mean, there was another one.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, they were just flying off the charts,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, it's gonna be
I-
a fun draft for sure.
I like the corner class this year.
The
I like
Obviously the running
defensive
back.
tackles,
yes,
the running
defense-
back,
Yes.
and
Wow.
and really those are where the strength of this draft is.
It really is. Yeah, wide receivers are you got to really if your NFL team needs a wide receiver, make sure they do their work on them because everybody has other than maybe Tet McMillan. I love Luther Burden, but it's hard to really watch him in Missouri. But everybody has a little bit of a nick on them, so you just got to make sure that they'll translate well to the NFL.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not, and they're not all little guys like they were last year
Yeah.
either.
6'2" and
there's-
higher.
There's bigger wide
Yep.
receivers this year.
Bunch of X.
But again, for me, you got maybe eight wide receivers who should go in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And I really don't like this quarterback class. I really don't. I don't
No.
like Carson. I don't like Carson Beck. I don't like Quinn Ewers.
No.
I mean, Shedeur Sanders has to get away from his daddy.
Yeah.
And has to be taught that you don't throw your teammates under the bus.
Yep.
Because if you do that in the NFL, you're going down, sunshine. And these guys aren't going to they're not even going to help you up.
Yeah, no, those are adults that you're playing against that are feeding
Yeah.
families and such. So,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I very much agree. I hope that does happen because, and the one complication is that obviously Deion's going to kind of push him into a team. Like Deion's going to talk to a lot of NFL teams. He's probably going to tell Carolina before the draft he's not going there. He's probably going to tell the Giants maybe that he's not going there. So I wouldn't be surprised if Deion's on that phone telling teams, be like, he's not going to go there.
He's a college coach. He doesn't matter to the NFL. And this is my own personal opinion about Deion Sanders. Yes, he was a great interceptor of the football, but he's not the best corner that ever played this game. Nowhere near it because he didn't ever tackle players. If
Yeah.
you don't know how to hit people, I don't want you on my team And yes,
Absolutely.
I wrote that in my article about Trayvon Diggs after his performance against the Lions. And if he does that same thing tomorrow against the Niners tomorrow night, I want his butt out of that Texas sunshine by the 5th of November. I want him gone because
I
if you can't tackle somebody, what are you doing on the football field?
Yeah, I mean he's covering for show. He always has, in my personal opinion. He covers. He's going for the stat. The interceptions were a big cloud over who he really was.
Yep. I mean, yes, he played receiver first, and I get all that. But if you don't understand how to tackle a player, oh my Lord, are you a nightmare?
Uh,
It is horrifying.
yeah, I
It's
mean,
horrifying.
talk about the 2018 to 2020 Buffalo Bills. I don't think our secondary knew how to tackle anybody. We had the
Yeah.
most missed tackle rate. It was it was the least amount of fun football that I watched, without a doubt, on the
Yeah.
defensive side.
Yep. And when I saw that against the Detroit Lions, I was just shaking my head, going, I don't believe this guy.
Yeah.
He really thinks he is prime time. And see, I didn't even like prime time coming to the Cowboys. I did not like it
Yeah.
because I knew what he was all about, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's the same thing with him as a college coach. Yeah, okay, but now that you're not going to have your kids around anymore, we're going to see if you can really coach this college game there, Sunshine, because your whole defense, you got to understand how a defense works. You need an offensive line, and
Still.
they don't have that. Yes, they made changes to their couple of guys on the offensive line, and it helped. But again, if you can't run that football, you're dead in the league. You're dead.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know?
That's a very good point. I am interested to see how next year goes when it's kind of like a reset. Hopefully, he doesn't abandon Colorado, but it would be interesting to see how he kind of turns out. I will give him the credit of what he kind of has done with Colorado, because before Colorado, they were a one-win team.
Yep.
So I'll give him credit for what he has done, even though he left HBCU for it and stuff like that. So there's been progress. So we can't ignore
Right.
that. But I do agree that it's volatile
Yeah.
success.
And Warren Sapp coming in there and all that other jazz. These guys are guest coaches. They're not real coaches, folks. They're not real. That's all phoniness.
It is.
You know, and I don't have time for the phony.
Yeah, and it's too much. It's too much of it. Do it once.
Yep.
Do it once, maybe. Just stop doing it week by week.
So Texas A&M is 3rd and goal right now. They're about to score another touchdown, I think.
Yeah, and speaking of
So-
Colorado, they're up 14-7 at the end of the first.
Yeah. So next week, though, Texas A&M gets to go to South Carolina.
Ooh.
That could be a bit of a test for Mr. Elko.
Definitely. Are they? Is it still to be determined, or is there a time on that game?
Yeah, it's to be announced.
How do you see that going? How do you see that game going for you? Do you see Texas A&M covering it but keeping it close, or I'm sorry, Texas A&M covering the score but keeping it close and taking the win, or South Carolina actually taking it?
I can almost see South Carolina beating Texas A&M next week.
What do you think that they would need to do to beat Texas A&M?
I think the South Carolina defense just has to stop the running game.
Their front four is incredible.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's very possible. I love TJ Sanders, and Tonka Hemingway is a beast of a nose tackle.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So next week as well, we're going to see, let's just see here. Let's just go down to UNC won again today, which they finally won after four straight losses. They'll be the next victims of the Florida State Seminoles. Does Mike Norvell deserve to keep his job?
Nope. What do you think?
I agree. I think he got lucky in the transfer portal getting Jared Verse, and that was about it.
Yeah, I almost thought that Gus and Norvell should switch jobs. They can't be that far away from each other. They're both in Florida. See what happens. I mean, change of pace. See what happens. Because
Yeah.
it was very surprising how bad Florida State played, especially with their hype. They shouldn't have been hyped up as much as they should have at the beginning of the season, but their results are the complete opposite of what everybody expected.
And then the Air Force is going to get destroyed by Army next week. That'll be a disaster for the Air Force.
Yeah, they won't be able to handle Bryson Daly.
No, not at all. Bryson Daly still scares me coming against Notre Dame this year.
Yeah, he's awesome. I'm telling you, if he can get to the NFL, he's the next Taysom Hill.
He could actually be another Taysom Hill indeed. He's got 19 touchdowns on the ground this year.
Yeah, insane.
It's like, okay, it's another one. It's another one.
Triple option. I'll take it myself.
But the Army and Navy both have been able to throw the football now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been incredible.
Yeah.
Let's just see here. Texas Tech goes up to Iowa State next week. Iowa State is just such a sound football team.
Yeah, they are. They normally are. I mean, that's how they operate.
But since Brock Purdy left, they hadn't had any success and all that other jazz. They've got the wide receiver there who's now scored in 8 straight games. And they got a huge defensive tackle in that Dominic Orange as well.
Oh yeah.
That kid is I don't see him as a high draft pick this year, but if he waits that one more year,
agreed.
Because he's only a junior, so he can stay and play his senior season. I think he is just a phenomenal young man.
I agree.
He's 6'3", 335 currently.
Yeah. He's a refrigerator.
Oh man.
And then you're talking about Jaden Higgins, right?
Jaden Higgins, yep.
Yeah, he is good.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, Clemson gets to beat up on Louisville next week.
Yep.
Can you tell I'm not a Dabo Sweeney fan?
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
His shtick, I cannot. His shtick is just icky. I can't stand it. It's just egotistical.
So then the Pittsburgh Panthers travel down to Dallas to play SMU.
I saw that. Yeah. How do you think that one will?
I think Pittsburgh's defense just stifles SMU.
I was thinking the same, to be honest. That SMU edge, Elijah Roberts.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yep.
He's a 6'4", 278 as an edge. Insane.
Well, he's not the biggest edge out there this year, but he's certainly big, and he's got a huge wingspan on him.
Huge wingspan. Who is the biggest edge? Is it Landon Jackson close?
I think Landon Jackson, and there's another couple of edges who are right up there in size with him.
Yeah.
You know? Again, and the edge class again has good talent at the top of it, and then the bottom falls off.
100%.
You know.
Yep.
So again, when we do get to the draft, this year's good draft should be like an old style NFL draft this year.
Agreed.
It should be.
That's why I'm so excited about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because NFL teams understood in 2021 that Kyle Pickett should not have been a first-round draft pick, except for the Steelers, and no other quarterback was taken until the third round.
Yeah, for real.
And guess what? None of those guys are playing very good football in the NFL.
No. Yeah, it's I do like how it is evolving into it. I mean, obviously for in an NFL perspective, when it was massively pass happy, they were obviously getting more. It was, for the unsuspecting fan, it was more exciting. But now that we're getting back into, I believe, what football should be, which is trenches, running, sound passing with great defense, that's where it's coming into the draft. You're looking now. I know that GMs in the NFL always say we're taking best player available no matter what, but really there was a lot. The popular positions from 2019 to 2023 were offensive weapons and offensive line, and then sneak in those defensive tackles and stuff.
I can tell you the Dallas Cowboys didn't take the two best players available 2 years ago when they took Mozzie Smith and Luke Schoonmaker from that school up north.
Yeah, are you trading Mozzie Smith at the deadline?
Who wants him? Who wants him?
It depends on if it's like a sixth, conditional sixth. I'll take him.
Well, you could have him up in Buffalo if you wish. Yeah. You can have him. You could take that. You could also take that old age Schoonmaker. I mean, this is a stupid thing here. The guy was 25 years old. Why did you touch him? Why did you even bother taking him in that second round? And again, this is where I get my beef with Will McClay is always allowing these coaches to make these picks. No, you trust your scouts who watch these kids week in, week out. You don't trust the coaches. I don't care how good Dan Quinn was as the defensive coordinator. How many busts did they have? Calvin Joseph, Nashawn Wright, all of these busts who are no longer with that team were all picked by Dan Quinn.
Yeah, that's brutal.
I
know, and you guys had such great defensive drafts prior to that, and things along those lines, and that's where you were able to kind of fluctuate on your roster and be able to draft best player available, and also on the defensive and offensive side. So those defensive misses is what's ruining the depth of your positions on the Cowboys, in my opinion.
Well, the guy that doesn't understand how to set an edge and understand where a running play is coming from, he can go to Jacksonville for 2 first-round draft picks, a second and a third, just like Jalen Ramsey was sent off, right?
Yeah.
And goodbye, because I'm not giving you $35 million a season, son, because you don't understand how to stop the running game.
No. And I feel like the Cowboys didn't really try with him about that. I think they used his flash and didn't develop him into more of what he should have been, personally. But I could be wrong.
The first season he played
edge,
safety, at corner.
Yeah,
he was everywhere.
Right.
He was everywhere. He wasn't just going after a quarterback for sacks. Yes, he did. I mean, he does have the NFL, the real NFL record for having 13 or more sacks in 3 seasons, because Reggie White played the USFL, you clowns. He was not a rookie in the NFL.
Yeah.
So don't hand me that Reggie White garbage, especially you Philadelphia Eagles and Green Bay Packers fans. Reggie White played the USFL. So Micah has the actual NFL record as far as the sacking of the quarterback. That's fine.
Yeah,
but when you got run on the way that he was able to get run on by Josh Dobbs against the Arizona Cardinals last year, that was a nightmare. What are you doing going after him like that? You hold your position.
Right.
Hold it. Oh my Lord. It was horrible.
I agree. Setting the edge is exactly what it is. There's technique to it. You learn it and you do it.
No, exactly right. Okay. So let's go to the statement. All right, Randall, what's your statement for this week in college football?
All right. My statement, because first of all, Greg, I appreciate you having me on today. A lot of fun and everything along those lines. So down in the future, if I'm correct, then you can say it on the air again and I'll be watching. But my statement for today's games and whatnot is that I do believe when the 12-team playoff is set, Oregon will be that 1 seed. I think the way that they played against Ohio State, the way that they played today is very impressive and very sound. And I believe that that's going to carry on. I think Dan Lanning's fourth quarter against Ohio State was very calm and composed. He knew what he was doing. He was ready for that moment. And then you even just tack on the way the offensive line is playing, absolutely elite, which makes Dylan Gabriel look absolutely incredible. And then you have Evan Stewart, Tez Johnson as your wide receivers with a duo of Noah Whittington, Jordan James, and then I haven't even talked about the defensive side and Derek Harmon, Jabbar Muhammad, Nico Reed had a great game today. Everything is coming together for them. So I do predict after today that Oregon will be that 1 seed in the playoff format.
Awesome. My statement today, I'm going to talk about, No, I'm not going to talk about Notre Dame.
You can do whatever you want.
Even though here this is the standard line around here.
No, Greg. Notre Dame isn't the greatest school ever. You have to try at least and be biased. Another crazy college football Saturday is in the books. So let's get back to the show and discuss it all. Thanks for tuning in. The Last Word, a show for the real college football fan.
So yeah, that's a standard line around here. Is picking on my love of the Fighting Irish, which I disagree with. I totally disagree with this.
Yeah.
But my word today is going to be the Texas Longhorns. You got awfully lucky today. And you lost last week. I can see another loss for the Longhorns coming. So that means that Steve Sarkisian, once again, has all these talent around him, but can't get it done. Is it because Quinn Ewers is his quarterback?
Personally, yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I really, ever since I saw him go to Ohio State and then come back to Texas for the NIL money and all this other jazz, and this guy's a superstar. Where is he such a superstar? Because he can't throw a good deep ball.
Nope.
His outs are horrible. This guy survives on the fact that he's got good receivers, and that's it.
Agreed. I mean, you look at how Isaiah Bond was using Alabama and how he's being using now. That's Quinn Ewers.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah Bond should actually be considered the number 1 receiver in this class, but he's not because of his quarterback.
Agreed. I think he's the best route runner in this class right now.
Yep. But again, these people who only pay attention to what Mel Kiper and all those guys say, they love Quinn Ewers. It's really, and his Dr. Pepper commercial absolutely sucks, by the way.
What a perfect hater line.
I mean, I drink Dr. Pepper, but I'm not a fan of that commercial. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really see Texas as losing at least one more game this year, and it's going to be because Steve Sarkisian won't play Arch Manning.
I agree, and I don't like it that Arch Manning is kind of going in and out either. I'd rather him just stay and develop, knowing he's a starter.
Yep. And people can criticize Manning for being a Manning. Don't do that. Arch Manning is just a kid. He needs time to develop and all that other good sort of stuff. But the way that they said that Quinn Ewers was going to be this great college quarterback and be a great pro, no, it doesn't work out that way.
I could not agree more.
It's mind-boggling how the mindset gets set by Kuiper or the Sycamas and the Colin Rogers there on their little TV show on YouTube and all this other jazz. Oh, by the way, those two clowns, Parker's Brailford, the center from the University of Alabama, he's not another Jason Kelsey.
No.
He's Mark Stepnoski.
Yeah.
He's Stepnoski. He's a small center.
Oh yeah.
But man, can he move guys? And he has such great positioning after the snap. His first step after that snap puts him in a position to take a defensive tackle and just off to the side they go, and the running back is right behind. Oh my goodness. That's how football is supposed to be played, kids.
100%.
Yeah. But, that's just that again, the way that these kids are looked at in the draft. I watch the film much more than I watch what happens at the combine or at the Senior Bowl. The Senior Bowl and the draft combines and all that jazz. All that does for me is medical records and their real heights and weights. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, the 40 drives me nuts. Well, we don't really need to talk about that, but yeah, I mean, the tape is the tape, and especially in production, if you got 2 years of production, there's no reason to. I mean, I do like the Senior Bowl, but I don't make that damning. I just think it's more of a opportunity for some for some offensive and defensive people that don't have elite competition as a schedule to go up against on one-on-ones and see how that goes. I do love that about the Senior Bowl and stuff like that. But the
Quinyon Mitchell last year, I mean, he was the guy.
Yep.
I mean, because he did get to show that he could play against guys from the big schools. He was a MEAC guy. Okay, that's fine. That's what that's for.
Right.
But those of us who watched, we already knew that Mitchell was going to handle all these guys.
Yeah,
we
should
knew
not. Yeah,
that wasn't even going to be a contest.
Right.
It's like Siobhan Rivell of East Carolina.
Yes.
I don't care that he's not going to be there. He is not going to be at the Senior Bowl. He will not be at the draft combine because of his ACL injury. But if you draft that young man, you have yourself a beautiful nickel corner. I mean, beautiful.
Great example. Great example. Yep. I love that, man. Yeah, that kid.
And gee, my former coach Brian Kelly lost a game. I'm heartbroken. LSU lost, 38-23 to Texas A&M.
That score is a little ugly. I mean, it was close for a long, midway through the third quarter, and that score does not look good on Kelly.
No, it doesn't. Again, Brian Kelly, he needs to have a much bigger defense.
Yeah.
They just go way too finesse.
Agreed.
For the SEC, you need those big boys out there, and they just don't have them, especially at the defensive tackle position and things like that. They're always too small. Always.
I agree. I'm trying to find him. Is it Braden Swinson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 6'3", 250, but he's good on that front four, but he's doing a lot of work for a lot of people.
All right, then. So let's close out the last word for this week. I want to thank Randall for coming on with me. It's been a pleasure having you here, sir.
Thank you so much. I very much appreciate you thinking of me.
Not a problem at all. And the Penn State Nittany Lions will defeat the Ohio State Buckeyes next week, just because I don't have to hear anybody from Ohio or that school up north talk about them as being the greatest things in football, because the true men of the north of the Western world go to Notre Dame. That's the bottom line. All right.